Hello and welcome to Today in Sports. I'm your host, Carl Mogline, and today is the July 10th edition. Today in Sports is your nightly look at every single sport in America and on the international stage. Alright, just quickly to start it off, please follow me on Twitter at Carl_PM. Follow National Sports on Spreaker, and please like National Sports on Facebook. And follow us on Twitter at National Sports 1. And so thank you. Alright, moving into today's stories. In the MLB, David Ortiz has broken the career record for hits for a DH with 1,689. That is an outstanding number. Congratulations to him and congratulations to the Red Sox organization. Alright, and then Yu Darvish of the Texas Rangers has been put on the 15-day DL, and that is a huge, huge blow for that team. He is their ace, and it will be interesting to see how they react to that. Of course, they're in a tight division race currently with the Oakland Athletics. Alright, moving on to the NFL. Matt Stafford has been signed to a 3-year, $53 million contract extension with the Detroit Lions. That is, and $41.5 million of that is guaranteed money. That makes him the 8th highest paid quarterback in guaranteed money currently, and he's actually shown that he deserves it. That team currently really needs a running back, but Stafford has done extraordinarily well in the situation he is. Of course, he does have Calvin Johnson, the best receiver in the league right now, and maybe one of the best all time. Alright, moving on to a less known sport. This is the Tour de France in the sport of cycling. Today was the Stage 11 individual time trial. For those of you who do not know, the individual time trial is when each rider goes out alone in increments of about 3 minutes, and these courses range between 20 and 30 miles, and today's was 22 miles, and most of the time, riders race in a team, and everybody is together racing at the exact same start time, and cycling is very much a team sport. Each rider needs to have help from their team so they do not so they have people to draft off and people to work with. Sprinters who want to win every flat stage they can end up using their team as lead-outs because drafting, it is a great tool. Alright, today in the individual time trial, the world champion Tony Martin of Germany won with a time of 36 minutes and 29 seconds. Just 12 seconds behind him is Chris Froome of Great Britain, and he is the individual leader in the Tour, so this is a good ride for him, especially because Tony Martin is very, very far down in the standings. There's Thomas de Gendt. He was out 1 minute and 1 second. He, again, is a non-overall contender. And then there's Richie Porte out of Australia, 1 minute and 21 back. He was in the he was with the individuals for a while, but he has dropped down. Then in 5th place, the current white jersey leader for best youth rider, Michael Kwiatkowski. He was plus 131 to take back the lead in that. Alright, now looking at the overall lead in each of the major 4 jersey categories, starting with that youth rider. This is under 23 riders in the Tour de France, and right now there are 32, which is roughly, say, a sixth of the riders who are here, and currently it is Michael Kwiatkowski who is in lead, and he's up 34 seconds on Alexander Quintana, and so that's a big thing for him. He was down over 2 minutes, and he had an outstanding time trial. Quintana was not as good, and behind them, it's a long way to 3rd place. 6 minutes and 53 seconds is where 3rd place stands behind the leader, and that is Romain Bardet. Hard for him to make it back, and he is a Frenchman. Right, now we're going into the mountains classification. This is, in each stage, each mountain is classified at a 4, 3, 2, 1, or HC. That means that it is not a classified, basically. And currently the lead in this is given to Pierre Rolland. He has 49 points. And mainly in this competition, you'll get a lot of points for the HCs and 1s, but 4s give you almost no points whatsoever. Those big mountains are what's going to help you right now, and that is in the Alps and the Pyrenees is where you're going to find those big those big mountains in this stages for these competitors. And the jersey worn by the leader of this competition is a polka dot jersey, just FYI. Pierre Rolland, then there's individual leader Chris Froome. He is 16 points behind, and then Richie Porte, his teammate, who was also up there at 28 points. So many of the riders up here right now are not actually people looking to win the King of the Mountains. It looks like Pierre Rolland has a very good chance at taking this competition. Now onto the green jersey. This is for sprinters, and it's basically, they call it points classification, and it's currently been a big year for Peter Sagan. 269 points for the rider on the Cannondale team, and he's followed by Andre Greipel, but Andre Greipel is all the way down at 186 points. That is a ginormous gap, 83 points separating them. To put that into perspective, a win on a normal sprint stage is only 40 points. He is over 2 stage wins ahead of him. This will be a very hard gap to make up. And then there's Mark Cavendish behind him, the fastest man, most likely in the world, and he's a whole 20 points behind Greipel. It looks like it's going to be Sagan's to lose at this point. All right, now going on to the individual classification for the best time. How the scoring works on this basically is it's your combined total time in the whole thing, and you always know how far somebody's behind because basically there's a leader, and then like in baseball with games behind, they list minutes behind on people. So Chris Froome is currently in the lead on this, and they've already rode 42 hours and 29 minutes and 24 seconds. That's Chris Froome's time, and he has the best time. Then there's Alejandro Valverde. He's already 3 minutes and 25 seconds back, and he was closer, but Chris Froome, of course, had that amazing time trial, which pushed many of these people out. Great ride from him. And then Bachmo Malema, he is now 3 minutes and 37 seconds out. Alberto Contador actually did better in this individual time trial, putting himself up a few spots and putting himself at 3 minutes and 54 seconds. He didn't gain time, but he did move up from 6th to 4th place. And rounding out the top 5, Roman Kreuziger, also a teammate of Alberto Contador, Team Saxo Tinkoff, and he's 3 minutes and 57 seconds off the lead. Those two, he will be Contador's man in the mountains to lead him through that. Alright, now going on to another kind of minor sport, the WNBA. Today, the Chicago Sky defeated the Washington Mystics 85-89. Sylvia Fowles led that team. The Sky with 26 points and 18 rebounds, 10 of those offensive. A great game for her. Then the San Antonio Silver Stars defeated the Phoenix Mercury 88-86. Danielle Adams came off the bench to score 19 points to lead San Antonio, and 6 players scored 10 plus on that team. That is a great number for them. And that team, as I keep looking at the WNBA season, looks very strong. San Antonio Silver Stars team to look out for. Alright, now moving on to the NHL. The Bruins signed Tuukka Rask to an 8-year, $56 million contract. That's $70 million per year. Of course, they just came off a Stanley Cup playoff finals appearance where Tuukka Rask was definitely one of their greatest assets. So, not a surprise that he gets this big contract. He was a restricted free agent, which means he could not actually test the waters, really. And this was just looking for a contract. But why would he leave such a great situation where he's currently the starting goaltender on a high team right now? Looks like a great situation for both Tuukka Rask and the Boston Bruins. But the big story of the day from the NHL, the Hall of Fame inductees were announced today. 2 Iron Man on the blue line, Chris Chelios and Scott Niedermayer. Chris Chelios was the second oldest player ever play in the NHL. He played till he's 48. The only older was Gordie Howe, and Gordie Howe only played like a shift when he was 51. It was a weird situation, but Chris Chelios is an absolute Iron Man, and Scott Niedermayer, a great player as well. Going down forward, Brandon Shanahan, of course now known as the discipline or in the NHL Shanavans, as they are now called. Geraldine Haney, third woman ever inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Congratulations to her. And then Coach Fred Sherrow, former coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. He led them to the Stanley Cup in 74 and 75. Congratulations to all the inductees, and especially to Chris Chelios, the only American inductee this year. All right, moving on to the NBA. Andrew Bynum finally picked a team to sign with. He chose to sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers with a contract that is 2 years and $24 million. Although it is a very interesting contract, only $6 million is guaranteed, and it is a 1 year with a second-year option for the team. Most of this is coming because Andrew Bynum missed all of last year with knee issues, and he can get the full $12 million based on game and health requirements. He has to do that, and I think it's a great way to do it, really. I mean, if he's good, he's great. I mean, he's only $12 million. If he's bad, he's $6 million. $6 million is not going to kill them, and this is a big thing for them, trying to win back LeBron James in free agency in a year. That is huge for them to get Andrew Bynum. An odd team, I think, for Andrew Bynum to pick, a lottery team in the Cleveland Cavaliers. But again, they're trying to build to get back LeBron James. Currently have Kyrie Irving as one of their centerpieces as well in that current situation. So this is a great, great deal for them. And I really like the ownership of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the general manager here making a great move, in my personal opinion. All right, then we have our fact on today in sports. Every show we have a fact for about today in sports history, and today is on July 10th, 1914. This is 99 years ago. The Boston Red Sox purchased Babe Ruth from the International League team, the Baltimore Orioles, and it was announced as $25,000 as the price. This is somewhat disputed, and some people are saying it was actually a much lower price. But if this is a true price, that is $574,000 today, and you have to imagine at the size baseball was back then, that is an extremely high price. It was not a sport that had big contracts, but Ruth was really showing, especially as a pitcher, unless it's a hitter, but he was coming out of the hitter, and he came from the Baltimore Orioles. Back then, being an International League team, it's funny to think what would have happened to the Baltimore Orioles in their future if they had kept the great Bambino. All right, we are going to quickly close out our show, but I'd like to remind you to follow me on Twitter, Carl_PM. Follow the show on National Sports on Spreaker and National Sports on Facebook and Twitter. All right, and then that will end us for today. Thank you for listening. I hope to be back in the next few days. We'll see how that happens. But thank you for listening. I will be back next show with some more Today in Sports. Please, if you like the show, tell your friends. And any comments or questions, please just put them onto the page or send me them on Twitter and follow me on Twitter. Please, Carl_PM.